Hey, Dale Stewart, who else,
Hey,
Jay?
how you doing, man?
I'm very well indeed. It's terrific to speak with you. I'm going to try not to go all fanboy on you. Thanks very much for your time.
That's good, and thanks for the Afrikaans.
Pleasure indeed. Firstly, congratulations on Isolate and Medicate. I just love it. You seem to have undergone an evolution of sorts, willing to explore new directions, but also revisiting your more youthful vibrance. Was that the intent of the album?
Yeah. I guess each album, we like it to, I guess, kind of be its own thing. We don't really want to sound the same or kind of stagnate, within a certain sound, and it's, the music evolves and the band evolves, and, it's not even really a conscious thing. We just, kind of go with it, I suppose. For a while,
Absolutely.
For a while when we were starting out, I suppose we thought we had to sound a certain way and do certain things. So there were a lot of things that we weren't willing to try, or song ideas were like, oh, that doesn't sound like Cedar, so let's toss that one out. Whereas now, if something sounds a little different, we almost get excited about it. Oh, let's embrace that. Let's see where that goes. What sort of channels that opens up. So I think it just makes it more fun, and hopefully makes the album a little bit more, sort of diverse and dynamic, to listen to.
Absolutely. I mean, See You at the Bottom opens beautifully. It's so complex. Besides the lyrics being delivered like a freight train to the face, you really seem to explore those earlier days. But it's got such a slice of freshness to the album. It's brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure indeed. Was there a particular subject focus of the album?
I guess, lyrically, I think it's a lot of relationship kind of stuff. I know Sean was, having, relationship issues, as you do when you do this for a living. But yeah, I was there for some of it, and at Sean's house, and he had his little studio there. And we basically get drunk at night and go in there and jam and listen to music and get a little crazy. And then I wasn't there for a lot of it too, but yeah, I think the lyrically, I think the music's certainly like a diary for Sean, and pretty much like an outlet, way of getting rid of all these negative feelings and these negative emotions, purge them out of your system through the music, and kind of a therapy of sorts, I suppose.
Right. Well, that certainly clarifies the cover art for me, the cleansing of the innocent child, so to speak.
Right.
Well, that's what I'll take anyway. But you've been with the band since the beginning, 1999, as Sarin Gas, a huge investment in anyone's language. Why the name change back then?
The name change was actually a suggestion from the record label. And when you're a baby band, just signing on a, huge record label overseas for the first time, when they suggest something, it's like, okay, you're going to do this now.
Yeah.
They kind of call the shots. And their rationale behind it was because of the 9/11, terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
And there was all the sensitivity, with the terrorism and everything. And they said, well, they had these sarin gas attacks in Japan and the subway there in the 90s. And even though we didn't really know about that, and we'd spelt it differently, and they said, people are never going to buy a band with this because it's, just terrorist, connotation. And we're like, okay, we'll change it.
It is what it is.
Yeah, so we kind of had to do it, but in hindsight, it was kind of a new beginning for us, and so the name change was kind of a good thing. And I couldn't imagine being anything other than Cedar. It's really, I think it's a better name. It's more concise. hopefully more catchy. So, you know, it was a good thing in hindsight.
Indeed. I mean, the name says so much. It really does. Was it difficult getting established in Pretoria?
In Pretoria?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, South Africa it's a small, you know, a relatively small country. And, you know, out of the population that are there, you know, it's a very small percentage that, you know, are rock fans and listen to rock music. And then there's kind of a stigma too, where, you know, local music kind of sucks, and, you know, if it's not, you know, a band from overseas, you know, they're somehow not as good or not as cool. So it's a bit of an uphill battle there, and, you know, you can only play so much and tour so much, and you've pretty much played for everybody that wants to hear you, and then, you know, you need to sort of make a move or decide what the next step is. So yeah, I think it was, I guess, maybe not hard to get noticed.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it was sort of difficult to take the next step.
Absolutely.
So when we moved to the States, we were, you know, big fish in a small pond, you know, and then when we moved to the States, we were guppies in the ocean, you know. It was a real eye opener. But you know,
indeed, I guess it was really
Wind Up Records for.
I'm sorry, Dale. Please pardon that slight delay there. I do apologise talking over you.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying, you know, thanks to Wind Up Records for, you know, taking a chance on signing a South African band and, you know, bringing us over. So, you know,
absolutely,
it's worked out pretty well.
And us fans are very thankful indeed as well to the label. Your second album was delayed for touring opportunities with Evanescence, and your achievements haven't stopped since. I have to ask, and I realise this may be a silly question, but how has the journey been for you personally?
It's been crazy, man. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. You know, when you start a band, it's almost like a case, especially in South Africa, you know, it's kind of a case of, you know, hope for the best but expect the worst.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to sound pessimistic, but it's almost like, you know, dreaming of, you know, being in an international touring band, you know, seems somewhat unrealistic, you know. But, you know, the way it all came together and everything, you know, when we started the band, you know, I could never have pictured where we are now, you know, over in the States and, you know, and playing all over the show. And it's just been crazy, you know, when I look back in the last, say, 15 years, you know, and it seems to have just gone so fast. It's just this sort of kaleidoscope of places and people and shows and craziness. It's all just this weird sort of collage.
Oh, magnificent!
It's awesome. You know, I've been having a good time, and I haven't had to grow up, so I can continue, you know, being a man-child.
Brilliant. Let's talk signature models for a moment, if we could. The Schecter Dale Stewart Avenger. It's so beautiful and yet so ugly. It's nice work. Did you design the whole thing?
What, the artwork?
Yes.
The artwork was actually designed by our touring guitar player, Brian. He was actually our guitar tech at the time. We actually met him when he was doing graphic design for Schecter guitars, the guitars we endorse. And then basically he needed a place to stay, and he actually moved in with me. We became roommates. And then he wanted to get out of the sort of corporate side of things. So we said, well, hey, you know, come on the road with us, you know, be our guitar tech. And, you know, just so happens he's a great artist too. So we wrote him in to do a lot of the, you know, album artwork stuff. And he actually painted that. And we loved him. So, wow, you know, cool. Can we use that for the, you know, for the album cover? So yeah, that was all from the twisted brain of Brian Whitman. But yeah, and we said, you know, let's get a a touring guitar player for the road. And they're like, well, let's just get Brian up on stage to play. So he's now our live guitarist on stage.
Fantastic. Look, a personal preference for yourself, picks or fingers? What's your preference?
I prefer fingers,
right.
Definitely. I have picks on stage that I mess around with from time to time, but it's very much I got jealous because Sean has got picks to throw out to people in the crowd, and it looked cool, and I wanted to have picks that I can throw out to people. So I'm like, I'm gonna have picks made.
Brilliant.
Throw them out.
Well, I'll be standing right in front of you to catch one.
Yeah, I'll look out for you.
Wonderful. I have to ask, do you have a favourite album? A favourite track to perform live from the album?
It's tough to say. It's you go through phases. Of different songs. And I suppose that's natural. But I think right now, my favourite one from the new album to perform live is a track called My Disaster.
Yes,
it's kind of heavy. It's got a real sort of intense kind of riff to it. Gets a great crowd response. So for me, I enjoy the songs that people react to the most. People sort of rock out to, get a little mosh pit going or whatever. Those are the ones for me that kind of get the adrenaline going and the blood pumping.
Absolutely, and that track certainly does that. Well, touring again,
we have time for just one more question.
Terrific. Touring again, and we have the privilege of welcoming you back to Australia on the 4th of July, and we're very excited indeed. This is a massive tour, destinations right through until October. Do you get tired of the road?
Yeah, you do. Fortunately, we're at a point now where we can, have, a tour bus or, fortunately we're not in a van anymore and going around and, sharing hotel rooms with, 6 guys and whatnot. So it's a little easier in those terms, but, it does get hard after a while, living out of a suitcase and, it's not the playing, that's the hard part. That's the payoff. We enjoy playing. We love playing music, but it's everything else. It's being away from loved ones and family, and the traveling and everything. It gets tiring after a while, and I don't want to sound like I'm moaning or complaining.
No, not at all.
Because as far as jobs go, it's a good one, but yeah, you do get tired, and sometimes you do just want to. Go home and sleep in a bed and, unpack the suitcase and that kind of stuff. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
well, look,
it is fun.
We thank you very much for going on the road nonetheless, Dale, and we can't wait to see you in Australia in July. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute thrill.
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Travel safe, Dale.
Will do. Thanks.
Goodbye.
All right. Cheers.